Merry Christmas, everybody. How you all doing? It's Christmas Day here in Japan. It may not be where you are, but in Japan, it's Christmas, and we are excited to be here and reading How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, this is a classic, and everybody knows the Grinch. And this is a story that I grew up with. Every year for Christmas, we would watch this on TV. Now, I, of course, didn't see the original one. I'm not that old. The original one was written or released in 1957. So the later version, which was in 1966, was the one that most of us are familiar with. That was the, I think, Chuck Jones production with Boris Karloff reading it, the cartoon. This is the original that I'm reading today. It's the original version by Dr. Seuss, Theodore Geisel. And at the end of this, I'll give you a little backstory on the history of this story for those who want to stick around. So, do you have your drinks ready and fruitcake slices and everything else ready to go? Merry Christmas, Terry. We'll let everybody kind of gather in. Those who haven't joined yet, sometimes the live stream takes a little bit before people join in. So we'll give it a couple minutes and then we'll get started. So where is everybody right now? Where are you watching from? Pumpkin cranberry cake, yum. Polly, welcome. USA, yes. All right, lots of Americans. Australia, Arnold, hey, in Perth. Canada, Germany, nice. Yeah, JB, welcome. How cold is it, Terry, in Scotland right now? What's the temperature? Yeah, Yash, homemade oatmeal cookies. Who are you passing those out to? Perth, Carrie, welcome. Megan, hi, cooking dinner. Nice. -2, woo. It's quite warm here in Tokyo still, surprisingly. Climax, North Carolina, woo. Donna, welcome. What's the population in Climax? I love saying that. 0 in Minnesota. Still no snow on Fuji. Yeah, I actually asked a friend of mine who, you remember the live stream I did from Fuji Yoshida. Hey, Tasty. Hello, thank you. Thanks so much. Arigato, Merry Christmas. Population U. Yeah, I did a live stream at Fuji Yoshida, and I asked my friend there to send me some pictures, and there still was no snow, which is just crazy. So I suspect the snowboarding and ski season may be off to a slow start as well. So, all right, we've got enough people here in the house. Let's get this going. I'm gonna flip you around and we'll get our story on the road. And again, for those who want to stick around at the end, there's some interesting tidbits about this story. Hey, Arnold, thank you. Cheers, man. Arigato so much. I won't be able to check the comments while I'm reading, so just wait for the end and we can talk then. You remember this little precious princess? Marnie, can you say hello? All right. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, Grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here. Then he growled, with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming. I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated. The noise, 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 noise. Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing. They'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years, I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? Then he got an idea. An awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and clucked. What a great Grinchy trick! With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around. But since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark. Quiet snow filled the air. All the Whos were all dreaming sweet dreams without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, "This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pitch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. "These stockings," he grinned, "are the first things to go." Then he slithered and slunk with a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present: pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums, and he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimbley. Then he slunk to the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. "And now," grinned the Grinch, "I will stuff up the tree." And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove, when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" But you know, that old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. "Why, my sweet little tot," the fake Santa Claus lied, "there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here." And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses. It was 1/4 past dawn all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsel, the trimmings, the trappings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-pooh to the Who's, he was grinchishly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry boo-hoo. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it just came the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light. And he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. Welcome Christmas. Bring your cheer. Cheer to all Who's, far and near. Christmas Day is in our grasp, so long as we have hands to clasp. Welcome Christmas, as we stand, heart to heart and hand to hand. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you for joining. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. My all-time favorite story from when I was a kid. So as I mentioned, this is the original. As you can see, the pen and ink drawing with the pink eyes. This is from 1957. So Ted Seuss Geisel, Dr. Seuss, released this in 1957. And the backstory on it is he was, I think, when he was a university student in his college days, obviously he's a genius. He's a very talented illustrator, and he's a genius and story writer. So in 1924, for Dartmouth's Jack-o'-lantern, that's the periodical they had on campus, Santa Claus Be Hanged was the name of an article he wrote. And in it, he suggested a gift exchange to rectify all the disappointing, inappropriate gifts that people get. And we've all been there. Then he later penned this story kind of in response to some of the feedback he got from that story. And he was 53 years old when he wrote How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Quite an accomplishment. I hope you guys are also Dr. Seuss fans. He's one of my all-time favorites. And this book actually is a gift from my sister, who just had surgery, rotator cuff surgery, so get well soon, girlfriend. I hope you're resting easily. She just came home yesterday. How's that for a good start to the Christmas? A good end to the year, very appropriate. But hey Brenda, thank you. Thank you for Joji. But he wasn't part of this. Boo-hoo. Of course, for Joji. Yeah, right. My sister gave me this book, and it's full of Dr. Seuss stories. Let me show you. It's a massive book, as you can see, but it's full of all of his stories, and it gives a little background on the story and about Ted Geisel. It's pretty cool. So I'm wishing you guys all a fantastic Christmas, and I hope you have a wonderful time with your families and friends, or maybe not with your friends, but with your immediate families is the safest bet. We're coming out of a very somber 2020, so fingers crossed that the Grinches of 2021 will be way behind us, and we'll all be in a better place in all aspects. So, yeah. Well, that's it from PVG. Merry Christmas, and all the best to you and yours. Thank you for joining, and we'll be in touch again very soon. I will be, I think, when is it? Next week? This weekend? What day is it today? Can't remember. Next week, I'm going to Enoshima on my motorcycle, so I might show you guys around a little bit there. So, yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Take good care. Say goodbye to Barney the cat. Barney, can you say goodbye to the nice people? Thank you, JB. Yeah. Thanks, Terry. Alam, cheers, guys. Thanks so much. Sorry if I missed anybody in the chats. Thank you in advance. Thanks so much. Hey, you. You're such a little cutie pie. What would the world be without the Barneys of the world? Save money on groceries, that's for sure. This is her new seat. You guys saw last week, she loved to be here. For the longest time, this was her spot. And then she just suddenly decided, oh, okay, I'm done with that. Now I'm taking the whole friggin' seat. And she did. Look at that. It's a huge chair that just dwarfs that little tiny cat. Isn't that cute? She gets a present every day. Right here. That's the best gift ever. All right, guys. Let's get back to your Christmas Eves And yeah, I hope you get up to some good fun. We're just getting started here. I think Joji's coming back from school early today, as is Mrs. Claus, and we'll rip open the meager amount of gifts down here. I have no idea. I didn't ask for anything. I have no idea what is in store. But yeah, it'll be fun. So, gonna have some drinks and just chill out and try to ring in this new year early. All right, I've got no more work and just gonna relax, take it easy and enjoy. So you guys do the same, and we'll be in touch. So long for now. Bye, guys. Merry Christmas. Boop, 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 boop. Now, if I can just get this out of its crate. Oh, jeez. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. That was real suave. Santa Claus. Bye, guys. Arigato so much. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Bye.